This is Focus Richmond, covering the issues, people, events, and news that affect the citizens of Central Virginia.
Welcome to Focus Richmond. I'm Rich Jacobs. My guest this morning is Karen Stanley. She is CEO of CARITAS. And I'm going to ask you the obvious question. What is CARITAS? Is that an acronym?
It is an acronym. We don't use it very often anymore, but it stands for Congregations Around Richmond Involved to Assure Shelter. But since we are more than just shelter, and we do everything from shelter to stability now, we just use the term CARITAS.
So it's kind of how it started. Was
Absolutely.
Churches got together to help the homeless, so they didn't freeze during the winter, I guess.
Exactly. That's exactly why they started.
Well, how has it grown? What does CARITAS do now? The same thing, I guess.
Well, we still do the shelter. That's our core program. We work with about 170 congregations of all denominations, and we call them congregations, not churches, because church is a Christian term.
Got it.
But people always ask that, and that's why. But we started to focus more on the stability piece and less on the emergency shelter piece. We will always have that safety net, but we started to look at why people are homeless and how to keep them stable once they become housed. And one of the things that was greatly missing in our community was furniture and essential household items. So we now have Virginia's only furniture bank. Then we were looking at what other gaps there are in our system, and we had a need for helping people with serious barriers to employment become reemployed. So we now have an employment program, a job readiness program. And then our most recent program, effective in July, we now have the Healing Place as part of CARITAS, which is a 200-bed recovery program for homeless men.
All right, covering a lot of ground. So it's grown to not just treat the symptom, but also treat some of the causes of homelessness.
Absolutely.
Right. And part of that's unemployment, and you said
addiction.
Well, you said barriers to employment, I
Right.
think is the phrase you used.
Right.
What are some of the barriers?
Well, when
employment?
you deal with, and this came out of my dual role of working with the Healing Place before it became a program of CARITAS, I saw men that would be ready to go back out into the world, but then they were so intimidated by the thought of talking about their spotty work history, the fact that they had an addiction issue, they may have a felony conviction on their record. And
It's easier to just give up.
Well, relapse, just say forget it.
Yeah.
So that's what we were seeing happen. So
the Healing Place deals with addiction and hopefully recovery.
Absolutely. It's a recovery program. It's not considered a treatment program because it's a peer-to-peer recovery program, which means it's an intensive 12-step program.
With, I guess, someone who's a recovering addict or...
All my staff, all my program staff are in recovery.
Right. So they're
walking the walk.
Yeah. They're role models for the new people
Absolutely.
coming in. How long does the average person stay at the Healing Place?
It's self-paced, but anywhere from 8 to 12 months, and then they can stay up to a year in our transition program. We actually have like 170 beds in the building, and we have 10 apartments and 3 houses out in the community where they can stay and transition back into society.
How many people are in the program usually at one given time?
We run at about 90% capacity because we always have entry beds in we have the only social detox in the area, so people can come in and be non-medically stepped down from their drugs or alcohol. And then, so we always have empty beds at the beginning phase, and then as people are transitioning back out and becoming alumni, we usually will have some spaces in the apartments as well. But the program spaces usually remain pretty full.
Wow. That's got to be expensive.
It's amazingly not, and the reason being because it's peer driven. I have 6 full-time staff, and then the rest we have 14 peer mentors at any given time that are basically stipended people that are in transition, and they act as assistant staff. So our cost per person per day is under $20, which is a lot less expensive than prison or regular treatment or being unsheltered out in our community.
Right. So the original goal of CARITAS was just to make sure that the homeless had a place to stay.
Correct.
Sort of an emergency
Shelter.
Safety net.
Right.
Yeah. And now it's grown to address as many causes of homelessness as I guess you can. What other causes are there?
Well, as over the years, we've seen mental health as a huge issue, or lack of assistance in the mental health world. And it's one of those really catch-22s because people don't realize that they have a mental health issue, and then they get assessed, they get on the medication, they feel better, then they stop taking their medication, and it's this constant cycle of people. But between the substance abuse, the mental health, or those that are duly diagnosed and have both issues, that's a big portion of the folks that we're dealing with. And then now with the economic situation, people that had been kind of on the fence and had been making it have really fallen into our system as well.
Right, the ones who are just getting by. Just
exactly.
Right there on the edge.
Right.
What are some of the other programs that CARITAS, I mean, we talked about the shelters, we talked about the healing place.
Right. Well, the other one, the second program that we really started after the shelter was the furniture bank.
Oh, right, the furniture.
There had been several attempts in our community to start something like that with not enough resources really put behind it. And now we have a 20,000 square foot warehouse. Actually, it's more than that now. It's 50,000 square foot warehouse. We partner with 70 agencies that actually send us their clients. They determine the eligibility. They could be somebody that's working through Red Cross that's been burned out in a fire. Could be a foster child that's re-engaging with their family. Departments of Social Services, both in Chesterfield and Henrico and Richmond, are part of our referral partners. So they determine eligibility. Then they come in to get connected with a personal shopper, and they go through and get whatever it is they need: beds, dressers, couch, dishes.
Does it cost them anything?
It's a per year membership fee of like $50 for our referral partners, and then it's a per household access fee of $50 to $100. They get between $600 and $700 thrift store value of items.
Right. These are, I mean, I'm assuming these are people who are homeless.
Well, they're homeless, or most of them are homeless or at risk or in need. Dealing with Red Cross, they may or may not be, wouldn't have been maybe homeless prior to a fire.
Right.
And we work with the Refugee and Immigration Services, things like that. So they're just folks in need that we're trying to help stabilize. So again, it becomes a prevention issue, so they're not coming into the homeless services system again.
In many cases, maybe they're moving into an apartment for the first time
Absolutely.
in a while.
Right. And they're walking in with a key with nothing.
Right.
Right. And it's really expensive if you think about everything you need when you walk into an empty apartment.
You can't just sleep on the floor. Yeah.
That was actually how we started. The lady that started the furniture bank that we took over had befriended a woman in CARITAS. I went to go visit her when she got her apartment and realized that she was sleeping on a mattress with her coat rolled up as a pillow, and the baby was sleeping in an infant seat, which unfortunately was more common than not.
And this is in the Richmond area.
It is, correct.
So that people don't realize that you may be working right next to somebody who is on the verge of homelessness.
Absolutely. The great thing is we now are able to help about 800 households a year. And then it's got a whole green component too, because we repurposed between $500,000 and $1 million worth of stuff,
right? Because
that may have ended up in the landfill.
Well, we throw away nice stuff in this country.
We do. We do.
Somebody gets a new bed, and one that they've got, which is perfectly fine.
Right.
They're not going to. You can't put it in the living room.
Right.
So they trash it. They throw it away. And
for somebody, that would be a great thing for them to have. And the great thing about one of the things that we do now at the Furniture Bank is we also have a business called Sleep Tight. When you think of Sleep Tight, we realized that there is an issue in this country and beyond of bed bugs. We didn't want to be part of the problem. We wanted to be part of the solution. So we, with the help of Dr. Deanie Miller, who's an entomologist from Virginia Tech, we built a mobile convection oven. So now, not only when we get mass donations from hotels and, military bases and colleges, can we make sure and cook everything to make sure that it is bed bug free.
Right.
We can now also sell the services so that it creates a stream of income coming into CARITAS. So we're
talking like a mattress oven?
It is. Well, it's not just in mattresses. I mean, bed bugs can be in anything that's typically in the bedroom. So
just like sheets and comforters and mattresses.
Well, we
and
usually do that kind of stuff in a dryer, but but couches and
You can run a couch through the oven?
Well, it's in a box truck, so we actually will come pick everything up, and then we put the probes in. It has to be at a certain temperature. The reality is, adult bed bugs can be killed by chemicals, but larvae, the only thing that kills larvae is heat. So, and they can lay dormant for quite a period of time. So we're helping with the problem, and we're helping not spread the problem, so that folks that come to our furniture bank can be assured that what they're getting is free of bed bugs.
Giant oven truck.
Isn't that cool?
I've never heard of such a thing.
We're kind of innovative at CARITAS.
I can see that.
We have this little entrepreneurial spirit.
What else is going on? You got anything new coming
Well, the
up?
Works program is the biggest thing. That's our newest program, and that's the whole employment piece. And we're getting ready to graduate our 17th class this week. Mostly men from the Healing Place. They are about 70 to 75% are now employed over the last 2 years that we've been doing this program, and those are with 75 to 80% having had a criminal background. So we're thrilled about the success in that program.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you can take somebody who's literally homeless on the streets, maybe has a dependency problem, substance abuse dependency problem, put them in the Healing Place, get them some help with that, and then where most programs would say, okay, there you go.
Yep, out the
Have
door.
fun.
Good
Have a
luck.
nice life. You help them get employment and teach them how to stay employed.
And then give them furniture
And
when
then
they get
give
their
them
own place.
furniture.
I mean, we have our own little continuum.
So how do you guys keep this running? I mean, this has to cost money.
Costs money, but we have a lot of donations. We take donations of furniture and household items. We keep, obviously CARITAS itself, the whole organization is about a $3.5 million budget now, most of which is privately raised. So
If somebody wants to donate, how do they do that?
You can do it on the website at caritasva.org. Or
Caritas VA. And by the way, Caritas is spelled CARITAS.
Right, and VA for Virginia.
Right.
.org.
CaritasVA.org.
Right, or you can always pop something in the mail at P.O. Box 25790, Richmond 23260, or give us a call, 358-0964. My development director's extension is 305. We're happy to, we've got tours that go on a couple times a month, one at the Healing Place to see what that's all about, and one over at the Furniture Bank to show people the newer programs that they may not be as familiar with. People seem to know CARITAS, and they immediately zone in on, they know the shelter piece, but they may not know the rest of it.
Right. If someone needs help, how do they get in touch with CARITAS?
If it's shelter related, there's one portal of entry into the system called Homeless Point of Entry, and it's 648-4177. They actually have to go through an intake process there, and then they're referred to an appropriate program based on maybe the size of their family or the makeup of their family, or other issues if they've got the addiction issues. One thing that makes our CARITAS family shelter different is we're the only family shelter that provides for fathers that have dads. Most family shelters are really women and children, and we wanted to be kind of holistic in how we looked at this. So two-parent families or fathers with children can come to CARITAS, and we house them and get them the help they need. If it's other things, the Furniture Bank, they have to come through one of our referral partners, which they can find on our website, who's connected to us. And through the Works program, same way you can connect with us through the website as well.
You have an event coming up.
We do.
Tell me how this works. It's the 10th annual Celebrity Serve.
Right. We have local celebrities such as Adam Stubbs and Susan Greenbaum, and the fire chiefs have been involved for many years, Rob Ukrop, that donate their time, and they come out to benefit CARITAS, and they are paired with wait staff at Cheney. It's at the Cheney down in Chaco Bottom. We have a wonderful menu. This year we're going to doing the best of, and we're doing tapas of all our favorites over the years. And Judy Newcomb does an art piece for us, and everybody gets a beautiful small placemat size print that's been signed that she's done for us. We have great auctions through the night, live auctions. Susan Greenbaum always does a conga line through the restaurant, and basically Cheney gives us the restaurant for the night, and it's a $50 ticket price, but we really make the money on the tips. And every year it's amazing to see one of the Ukrop's chocolate cakes usually go for between $500 and $1,000. So we have a great time.
And folks coming in really helping out with
absolutely
$50 per ticket, and then on top of that, it's it's about tips.
It's about tips. It's about and you know, everybody does it differently. Some folks some of the celebrities bring things to auction off. We always have Miss Virginia, and she'll charge to put on her sash and her crown, and we get very funny pictures of people dressed in her crown. We get the conga line. Susan Greenbaum will sing a song. Some people, you drop a fork and they'll charge you for a new fork. Everybody kind of does their own thing, and it's a lot of fun. The celebrities can do everything from serve the whole meal to just visit with their guests that are in their area and let the wait staff do the work. They've been fabulous. Shanae's been wonderful for all 10 years.
And when is this again?
It's on Tuesday, February 19th.
Right.
And we're going to be celebrating. We've actually had some of our visitors or guests have been there all 10 years, and we've had a couple of celebrities that have been there all 10 years. That we're going to, and wait staff that we're going to recognize this year in a special way.
If you want information on that, you can get it from the CARITAS website.
Probably the best way to do it is connect with my assistant Debbie. She's the one that kind of keeps the thing rolling. I know we're getting close to being full.
Just about full.
Wow. Her number is 358-0964, and she's at extension 302.
Yeah.
So
call if you want Adam Stubbs to spill something on you.
He's great.
Adam is a great guy.
He's a trooper.
Like working with him. More information on CARITAS, you can find that on their website, caritasva.org. You can find out all about the different programs that CARITAS offers. And you learn a little history there, too.
Absolutely.
Does it tell you about how you started and how you've grown into this? I think it's really, really cool that you started addressing just the symptom of a problem and realized, wow, this is a lot bigger, and how it's basically working to take anyone who's willing and help them get back.
Permanent solutions.
Get them back on the rails. I think it's absolutely wonderful. My guest has been Karen Stanley. She's CEO of CARITAS. And like I said, you can get more information at caritasva.org. Karen, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.